much lighter and much stronger than what we would call chipboard or cardboard. That's cardboard, that's corrugated paper. See, I did my research. And then they wanted to sell to this guy, which is their potential client. And so what we did is we got together with a team of designers and writers, and we brainstormed and we did our research, and we discovered that the product that we're selling is a box, which wasn't very exciting. But they wanted to impress that funny-looking guy from iStock Photo that showed up in just a second on the screen. So we were thinking, okay, a box. So we decided to do some more research. We went to their plant. Do some more research. Do some more research, Joe. There we go. Do some more research. So we went to their plant, and it was really messy. So we decided to not take any pictures of that, or bring photographers in and do real cool photographs of the plant. Then we met their staff, and then we got inspired because this worked. But we met their staff, and they weren't runway models, so we didn't photograph them either. We kept thinking of what can we show them? Okay, they got friendly staff. Well, they don't photograph well. What can we show them? Their plant is messy. It's just a box. So we got together and we were hashing out these ideas, and we would throw things out with aplomb, but most of them were unable to be produced. And then I went, wait a minute, and I got this great idea, and I could see it immediately. I could see it immediately. What we did is we built a pop-up book. And the cool thing about this is we used their corrugated paper, and then we used their tried and true technology that they did every day of adhering a sheet to corrugated paper, and then all the bindery, most of the bindery was done for us, and then we had lots of challenges about getting the pop-up box to be in the right position so that it would close and open up and be a box. The client loved it, the potential clients loved it, they sold lots more boxes, they sent out more 18-wheelers, and today they have 3 more locations. So it's very cool. Yay! Okay, so a creative idea came through. Creative example. Let's review the creative process. We do research, we wait on inspiration, but the inspiration is well informed because of our research. We begin our production, we deal with our challenges through more research and inspiration, and if there are no challenges, then we deliver our product. Excellent. Now, let's talk about the geek process. Okay? So there were geeks, about equal number of geeks and creatives in here. The geeks need to start with something called research. Research. Because a geek needs to be very well informed when they begin to formulate what it is they're going to do. They need to know what product it is. Is the application going to be the product itself? Is what you're building, is it a website or an application that is promoting something outside of itself? Is it, you get the idea, what is the product? You have to have a unique approach to that. Then you also need to know who the audience is. Is it the whole world? Is it registered users? Is it an intranet? What is it that you're producing, and who are you producing it for, and what do you want them to do with it? The call to action. And then, very important, you got to understand your skill sets, because there are some limitations or different approaches that you have to take depending on, and the skill sets here are really about languages, aren't they? The languages that you're going to write these things in. So once you've gathered all the information together, a geek needs to be inspired. Is that right? I mean, I'm not assuming that. I know that when I'm in geek mode, I need to be inspired. I need to formulate in my mind much the same way I would with a creative thing. What I did is I saw the pop-up book in my head. I saw exactly what we did in my head sitting in the conference room at this ad agency. And then, as a geek, I also can formulate. Sometimes I see Gantt charts, and sometimes I see database table structures, and sometimes I dream in code. The other day I dreamt in Ruby. I woke up and went, oh, dot relationships, how cool. So inspiration is very relevant, and actually it's essential to the process. You can't go, we're going to talk about, I got those slides, you got to have a new approach. Brainstorming is very important as a part of this. Especially if you can afford a team of developers, then get the developers together and formulate these ideas, and then wait on your inspiration and begin production. Decide on the medium of your platform and start coding. So inspiration is the formulation of the idea before you begin writing your code. Now, some people are in the habit, artists, creatives do the same thing, and this is a point that I'd like to make that I get from some kids that come right out of school. And that is, with a creative project, they just open Photoshop and start throwing stuff in and building layers before they even have done any research. And the same thing sometimes I know happens with code writing, where people just start writing queries to try to figure out how they're going to make certain things work. And certainly that's a part of your research. I certainly do that myself. Let's see if we can accomplish this thing to know if we can carry it out the rest of the way. So once you are in production mode, you're coding, and inevitable is not a strong enough word, because when you're coding, you always run into challenges, because while you're coding, you break it more often than you fix it, right? I mean, I write a line of code and then I check it, and I write a line of code and I broke it. But if I write a whole bunch of code and a whole bunch of different functions and then go back and check it and it's broken, I'm not real sure which one, that's the way the whole thing works. But there's bigger challenges, obviously, and you have to meet those challenges. And how do we meet those challenges? We obviously go back to research, which has to be inspired solutions, and then we start production again until we move the challenges out of the way and we deliver a final product. Woohoo! Now let's get a geek process example. Zipbox Media is a hosting solution for digital downloads, anything digital downloads, for anybody to have their own website. Now, it's an entire website, so we have a content management system. And when we first built it, we had a couple of spots where you could put text. And then we had images that you could put, because there's a couple of spots, you could only put images in 4 different places. So it's easy to show every option and every tool on the form that was the CMS. Then we added one thing, and it became kind of a problem. And then we added another thing, element that you could add to the page. And we're going, what about multiplicity? What if they want to add what if they want to add this text, and then one more thing, and then more text? And then the user interface got in the way of everything we were doing, and it made it very unpliable. And so we knew we had to come up with a new solution. There's more stuff here, just so you can see that there's just tons of complexity in the way we were doing our content management system. So what we did is we researched what it is people needed to know while they were editing their page, and then we also researched some of the languages that we had available to us. The content management system needed some server-side stuff to connect with databases, and it needed some client-side stuff to be able to connect with the client. So we had some choices to make, and we ended up with PHP, MySQL, Ajax, and a little bit of Perl. Then we came up with our solution, which was, we had a vision of what it was. We charted it out and drew out screens. I like to draw, so drawing screens, and we came up with a system that moves everything out of the way until you need it. So, and then this shows a page with elements in it that are fully editable. Click on any one of them to edit it, click on an arrow to move it, and click on an X to get rid of it. And then there was a screen, when they need to edit something, we put something in front of them. Much easier, much simpler process. If you didn't already guess, the creative process and the geek process are they're exactly the same. They're exactly the same. They involve the same kind of process. And so what we've done here is we're discussing creatives and geeks. I'm a creative and I'm a card-carrying geek. That they should both talk. And they should both talk at key moments, especially during the process. Guess which one they talk the least? Anybody want to make a guess which one they're going to talk the least? Production. You're exactly right. Because we're dealing with two completely caves. Two completely different places where people go. But